Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel. And continuing on with our October 2025 Spooktacular series, as we're revisiting the Halloween franchise. And the movie we're gonna take a look at today is a real gem from the franchise, and I'm saying that sarcastically. But that movie is Halloween Resurrection, or Halloween 8, if you will, the eighth movie in the franchise. But yeah, Halloween Resurrection. Boy, was I excited to watch this one again. There's the back. It does have some special features included there that you can see. But yeah, I have it on DVD here. So let's talk about Halloween Resurrection from 2002, as we have to. Not one of my favorites, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think that's a hot take. I think the thing about this movie that I really dislike the most is that it really fucks up the end of Halloween H2O with everything that it basically undoes everything at the ending of that movie and gives us a really lame reason why Michael Myers is still alive. I would have rather that if they wanted to do this movie as a concept with the individual cameras and all that, like as a 2000s Halloween movie with Michael Myers, then why even mess with why not just start a new timeline? Why even try to explain the Laurie Strode timeline? That's been finished already. But they just couldn't help themselves. They had to explain it all away and have it be part of that timeline. Like I said, I think they should have just I think it should have just been its own standalone Michael Myers movie. It's still not a very good movie, but at least I wouldn't have been as offended by what they did at the beginning of this movie by undoing everything from the end of H2O had they done that. But unfortunately, they didn't. Yeah, the beginning is unforgivable. The way that they kill off Laurie Strode. They got Jamie Lee Curtis to come back for this movie as like a cameo, even though she's one of the headliners on the cover here. She's definitely not a headliner in this movie. I think she's in it for maybe 10 or maybe 15 minutes if I'm being generous. And it's all part of like the opening prologue, kind of like Halloween H2O had before the credits, before the Halloween opening credits there. But no, wait. Actually, no, that was after. In this movie, they didn't do that, did they? I guess they did introduce the credits first, and then we got into things, I believe. I don't even remember, because I don't like this movie that much. But anyway, yeah, to kill off Laurie Strode that way is just so unforgivable. And that's right away, I already hate this movie just on that fact. And the explanation they give, of course, you have a couple of nurses in this institution that Laurie Strode's in that gives us our exposition dump, basically, to explain exactly how Michael Myers is still alive, because everybody saw his head get cut off with an axe at the end of H2O. Well, it turns out that wasn't him. That was somebody else, and apparently Michael Myers was quick enough and smart enough to change his clothes with that of an ambulance driver, not an ambulance driver, what did they call him? An EMT or whatever. Yeah, he was able to do that in that amount of time. Just completely strip naked and change clothes with them. My God. Yeah, so that's the worst thing about this movie for me. It's really the first 15 minutes and how they unceremoniously kill Laurie Strode, one of the best characters, if not the best character in this entire franchise. And it's just unforgivable. I'm sure they had to probably... I'm sure Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't all that excited about coming back. She wanted to do H2O to end the series, or end the franchise, and then I think they said, well, Michael Myers can't be dead. And she's like, what do you mean? I cut his head off. And then they did the mental gymnastics to explain, well, was it really him, though? And they got her to come back for a few minutes anyway to tie up the loose ends of that movie in the most unsatisfying way and most infuriating way imaginable. After all that, we're introduced to a wacky bunch of characters, mostly young, like early 20s college students, who have this idea at the time. This was made in 2001, 2002, so it was at the time of reality TV when that was really starting to become a thing, and those little handheld camcorder cameras that you actually wore, those like head cameras or whatever they call them. So this is also a very outdated movie in that regard as well, as if it needed any more cons to it. But yeah, the characters are terrible. I didn't care about anybody, and that's the biggest problem. Once Laurie Strode is killed, you have no Dr. Loomis, you have no Laurie Strode, you have nobody to relate to or to root for in this movie. It certainly isn't any of these characters. These are just throwaway, cutaway, bad acting for the most part, generic characters that I didn't care if they lived or if they died. And so, like I said, once she's gone, the rest of the movie's just whatever. It's basically a mid-2000s, early to mid-2000s generic horror movie that they throw Michael Myers in. And speaking of Michael Myers, I'm not as offended by the mask that he wears in this movie as I was in H2O or parts 4 and 5. It's still not my favorite. Now, I do like the fact that they at least put some black makeup around the eye, even though you can still kind of see his eyeball. At least they made it dark around the eyes. Where it isn't just it doesn't just look like Joe Schmo wearing a mask like it did in H2O. So I'll give him credit for that. But otherwise, the mask it's not the worst, but it's not the best. It's somewhere in between, probably. The portrayal by Brad Lorre is not one of my favorites. I think it's right down there with Don Shanks for me from Part 5. Ironically enough, this movie and Part 5 are my two least favorite of the franchise. Although you'll have to tune in at the end of the month to see exactly how the ranking goes. But, yeah, Michael Myers, he's brutal in this movie. I'll give him that. And I will say this movie is gorier. It's gorier than H2O. It's more the realm of Curse of Michael Myers, I would say. There is some blood and gore involved in the movie, so I'll give it that. You do have some decapitations, or one decapitation, I guess. So the kills might be a little bit of a step up from H2O, but that's not exactly high praise. Just trying to find other positives for this movie. They kind of went back to the classic score, where it's the John Carpenter Halloween score. They didn't try to do anything crazy like H2O. Yeah, that's really about it as far as pros go. It's like I said, I already touched on the cons, but it's basically just a generic 2000 slasher. That's not very good after the first 15 minutes where they really got my ire up by screwing up H2O and the whole Laurie Strode character and how much I love her in that movie. They really messed it up with this movie, and that's why this movie's unforgivable. It is a lot like Part 5 in that regard, because Part 5 screwed up the ending of Part 4, and this movie screwed up the ending of H2O, and that's the worst part about it. You have a lesser, crappier movie that screws up the ending to a better movie that came out before it. And that's what happened here. And of course, you can't talk about this movie without talking about Busta Rhymes karate kicking and drop kicking Michael Myers. It's cringe, man. So much of this movie's cringe. The dialogue is cringe, the acting is cringe, and Busta Rhymes making Michael Myers look like a pussy is completely cringe in this movie. And as if the movie wasn't bad enough by the time we got to that point, I was already pissed off at this movie because of those first 15 minutes. But, yeah, that's about it, guys. Other than the kills and the gore and the blood maybe being ratcheted up a bit more than the last movie, it's certainly the story and the suspense and any of that kind of stuff isn't anywhere near the last movie. So, I don't know. It's pretty crappy. Halloween Resurrection from 2002. But go ahead and comment down below if maybe you're one of the few that liked this movie. I'd be really interested to know why. If you are, go ahead and comment down below either way. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would really help me out for the future of my channel and the content created on my channel going forward. With all that being said, though, we're 8 movies in with 5 more to go, and it's October 16th, so I think I'm in pretty good shape. Of course, I got a couple more other Halloween horror movie reviews to do, as well as don't forget my top 10 atmospheric Halloween horror movies that I'm also going to do for this time of the year. So that'll all be coming up the second half of the month. But with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying this October Spooktacular series for 2025. And as always, stay scared. Bye.